We are family. My brothers and my... Oh, what up, Sci-Fam? It's your boy, Nickel, and you know the drill. We're going to do another note page, so go ahead and title it The Family of Coronaviruses, because even though everyone's talking about the coronavirus, there's actually a whole family of viruses that we would call coronaviruses. So let's explain and dig into what that's all about. All right. Well, if you were to look up at the sun, which don't look directly at the sun, please. Okay. But if you did, if we look at that little bit of this kind of like glow that's around the sun, we would call that a corona. Corona is a word that is Latin for crown, or some people would say like a wreath. So if you were to look up at the sun, which please don't, you would see this kind of like crown around the circle of the sun, because the sun is a sphere, so we see it as a circle. All that other stuff isn't real. It's just this kind of like crown. It's this light that's emitting from that. Well, if we look at the coronavirus, there's all these like little spikes that are coming off of the side here. And so it almost appears that it too has a crown or a wreath around it. And so when we look at this type of virus, we would call it, or scientists call it, a coronavirus, because it looks like kind of has that crown wreath type stuff around it. So let's dig in here. Coronaviruses, now that you know why and how they got their name, coronaviruses, which can be abbreviated with COV for coronavirus, are characterized by crown-like spikes. They're not necessarily sharp, but they're spikes. They protrude from the surface. So coronaviruses are any, spherical virus that have these crown-like spikes that protrude or go beyond their surface there. Well, coronaviruses are actually a pretty large family of viruses. Coronaviruses are going to cause different diseases or illnesses. Let's say illnesses, because not all of these are so severe, but it's a large family of viruses that cause illnesses such as the common cold. Whoa, what? Yep, just blew your mind. Yep, the common cold is coronavirus. And that's a more common illness, but it also causes some more severe diseases. But typically the types they cause are respiratory types of diseases. So coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that cause illnesses such as the common cold and can even cause more severe respiratory diseases. And in recent history, there have been 3 coronavirus pandemics. Now, you've probably heard that word a bunch. I honestly didn't know what it meant, so I had to look it up. And what it means is basically that this disease or illness, it goes beyond the borders of a country. It doesn't matter about the class, the social class, or how much money someone makes. It goes almost worldwide, or it spreads across a whole country. So there's been 3 times that we've had coronavirus pandemics where it's gone just crazy, where it's affected tons of people amongst the whole country, or right now around our whole world in just the 21st century. It all but the first one in the 21st century was in 2003. This one was called by scientists, a really long name, of course, so let's record here. It was called the severe, which I spelled incorrectly, severe acute, meaning in a specific place, respiratory syndrome coronavirus. Whew, that is a mouthful. So instead they called it SARS, SARS, but since it's a coronavirus, they do a hyphen COV, because remember, coronavirus abbreviated is COV. So since it's a type of coronavirus, it's the SARS coronavirus, COV. All right, this originated in, and you'll have to excuse me for the pronunciation here, because I'm not quite sure exactly how this would be pronounced, but Guangdong, China. It's a province in China. Province. All right. And that's in China. So the SARS-CoV, this was the first SARS, and so they call it SARS-CoV-1. It originated in China. That happened in 2003. You might have heard about it. Typically in the news it was called SARS. Now, then in 2012, there was another coronavirus. This one was named, this long name by scientists, called the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus. All right, let's see if we can come up with our abbreviation. MERS-CoV. MERS-CoV. MERS is what the news typically called it. And that originated in Saudi Arabia. Okay. More to come on that one. And then now, well, last year, kind of a few months ago, in 2019, there was another coronavirus. And this one looked a lot like the one from 2003. And it actually has a very similar effect. And so it's still called the Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus, because it looks so similar to that one in 2003. Now, it's different though, and so when we label it SARS-CoV, since it's the second one and it's a little bit different than the first one, we say SARS-CoV-2 because it was the second one. Okay, so that virus is named SARS-CoV-2, and that one originated in Wuhan, China. Now, something you'll see here is that China is responsible for, well, maybe not responsible for, but it's a place that a lot of these originate in. And it's because they actually have these things that are called wet markets, where people go out into the streets and they buy their food from local vendors. And there's typically just lots of meats and different animals that are just roaming about. And not necessarily roaming about, because some of them are just dead and they're just hanging there for people to buy. And so with all of this human interaction with these dead animals and animals that are living but in cages and ready to be sold for pets or for meat or for whatever other reason, there's the opportunity for different types of viruses in those animals to jump or to mutate so that they can then start affecting humans. And so whenever we have some type of virus or disease that is able to do this, to go from different types of animals to then adapt and evolve to affect humans, we would say that these types of viruses are zoonotic. So a zoonotic disease is going to be any type of disease that can be transmitted from animals, which humans are animals, but from other animals. And in those animals is actually where it normally lives. And it is transmitted from those animals into humans. So let's take a look back at our three different coronaviruses. The first one, if you remember, was Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus. Yeah. And that was the first one, so we call that SARS-CoV-1. Well, they went back and they saw that it might have originated in bats, but the way that they think it actually jumped to affect humans was from a type of cat called a civet, or something along those lines, civet cat. The MERS, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus, that one actually was from dromedary camels. And that one was able to transmit into humans, and it started affecting the humans. And the SARS-CoV-2, which is the current coronavirus that is affecting our world right now in March 2020, they don't really know actually where it came from. But when they analyze the genetics of that virus, they're thinking that there's a good chance that it also came from bats. But it's unknown. So we'll say possibly from bats, but that might be something that scientists continue to kind of dig into and try to unravel once we're able to kind of deal with this on a societal level. Right now, this isn't the most important thing for scientists to figure out, so we don't know this quite yet. We're working on other bigger problems, but yes, it transferred to humans, as we all know. Well, now you have a better idea of what a coronavirus is, and hopefully you understand that this isn't the first coronavirus, that even the common cold is a coronavirus. The one that we're dealing with right now, the virus, is called SARS-CoV-2, and if we were to zoom in using a microscope, it would look something like this. All these spike projections here are what give it that corona around it, and that's why we call it a coronavirus. So now you have been introduced to the family of coronaviruses. See you on the next one. Peace.